Okay, we are live. JT here. Welcome to The Huddle. The Huddle is where I sit down with successful people from the world of sport and coaching. It's to learn more about their journey to greatness. Why do I have these conversations? Because success always leaves clues. I just want to welcome you, whether you are tuning in live as we stream into our Facebook community, whether you are watching the replay on YouTube, whether you're listening to the replay on the podcast. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me and my special guest today. I've been looking forward to my conversation with my special guest today. I've been able to observe and just have seen the amazing things he's up to, of how he's choosing to be a driver of change, to be a catalyst of change. And I guarantee you that if you listen to his story, his journey, that you will walk away with valuable nuggets of wisdom. My guest in the huddle today is the current offensive coordinator at McMaster University. He is also been doing some amazing work as a driver of change in the BIPOC community, female empowerment. So I really want to dive deeper into that. My guest in the huddle today is Coach Corey Grant. How are you today, Coach?
I am good, and I'm glad to be here. With that intro, a lot of pressure. The nuggets. Okay, I'm going to see where it goes, and if start Googling things for some people that said some wiser things and maybe throw them out there, but we'll have a great conversation.
Well, Coach, I appreciate that. And I have no doubt that athlete mindset's going to kick back in. The lights are on, and I know you're going to bring your A game, and it's game time.
Let's
Ready
go.
to go. Okay.
Let's go.
So, Coach, what I want to do is I really want to take a moment before we get started just to send you some gratitude. I know that this is a busy time of the year, especially with the U Sport season back up and running. So I really want to just thank you again for being able to carve out some time in your busy schedule and to share your journey with us today. So thank you for that, brother.
No problem. And I just appreciate you even taking the time, wanting to even talk to me. So I always say, like, I'm a dad, right? So my son's like, you're just dad, right? So I'm just dad and doing that. But yeah, really enjoying, things that are important, what you carve out time for them. And I really appreciate the platform and coming on.
Yeah, no worries, brother. So one of the things that I like to do in the huddle is I often remind people that life is a game and games are supposed to be fun. So I'm curious, is there an interesting fact about you that maybe a lot of people don't know that you would feel comfortable sharing with our community?
An interesting fact about me. That's a great one to start off with. Okay. Because I don't find myself too very interesting, right? I'm a dad, husband, football coach, right? And a teacher and doing all those things. But I think one of the things about me is I have a real passion, right? And I know some of the coaches would know this too, like a real passion for sweets and a discussion. So that is my soft spot. As much as I try and eat healthy and do that, the chocolate cake that is in the fridge right now and the red velvet cake that's in the fridge right now, my sweet tooth is, that is one way to win me over. And that is one thing I will not say no to, right? So you might have the salad on the side, but my interesting thing is I have the sweetest of the sweet tooth in the world. So I'm going to throw that out there right now. So that's one interesting thing about me.
Okay, so mental note for me, if I'm going to send you a gift, I'm going to send you something sweet.
100%. You got my heart for days, and I'm good to go.
Okay. So, Coach, I'm curious. You had a successful career as an athlete, and before U Sport, right? When we were playing, it was called CIAU. You were a very well decorated CIAU athlete. Then you had this amazing career in the CFL. Right? You won multiple championships, and then you just transitioned into coaching, right? You coached at the OVFL level, you coached in the CFL, and now you're back in U Sport. So I'm curious, sport has obviously played an important role for you in your life. What would you say has probably been the biggest takeaway, that one lesson that you still apply to your life today from sport?
That never give up, right? You're going to face different challenges in your life and keep going along that path. And I know we were talking a little bit earlier about the journey, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know. There's going to be many paths along our journey that we're going to take. And sports just taught me you're going to have some different obstacles. And are you going to open the door? Are you going to go around the wall, over the wall? How are you going to get through that obstacle that's in front of you, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's going to be different ways you can get around it or get through it or knock it down. Mm-hmm. Take the one that's the best for you at that moment so that you can carry on. So, and that's what sports really, really taught me, because I know for myself, as you mentioned, a lot of the different places I've coached and been, I'm still not where I want to be, right? And there's been a few roadblocks along the way, and the lessons that I've learned along the way have made me a better coach. It's made me a better husband. It's made me a better father. It's made me a better person. It made me a better man. Because I've always, and as an athlete, you always want instant gratification and you want those results. And it's really taught me with sports, again, is to be patient, right? And it's not on my time, even though I want it now. I want to be a head coach, and I've wanted to be a head coach since I coached in the OVFL, since I finished playing, and I'm not there yet, but I've done so many other little things on the way. If I become a head coach, and I see how busy head coaches are, I may not have had the time to do the different things along my journey to allow me to grow and become a better coach along the way. So hopefully one day when I do become a head coach, or if I ever get that opportunity, I'll be more well-rounded. So, and sports has been teaching me that, oh my goodness, ever since I was a little kid. So it's been special.
And Coach, what I love about what you shared, and what really resonated with me is it's a great reminder that life is divine timing, right? And anyone that's played at a high level, right? And this is why I love, working with and talking with high level athletes, is it's that balance between being able to find what you're grateful for and what you feel blessed for, but also understanding that you're always striving and aspiring for more. So it's kind of one of those, that delicate balance, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, is there something that always reminds you? Because I definitely got a sense that you are very trusting, like you're very process driven. You're goal oriented, but you're process driven. Like, is there anything that sort of centers you, that brings you back into harmony?
Yeah, there's a lot as I've been getting older and I don't know, wiser, right? Obviously when I was younger and I was playing, I was just, this is what I want. I want to be a professional football player, and there was nothing else. And then when I got there, I wanted to do as well as I could. But as I've gotten older, and then wife and kids, they become that balance. They become, and I won't even say my wife and my kids, they help with that balance, but it's the student athletes, right, that I coach now. And even at the pro level, I had one of my former pro athletes that I coached reach out to me just yesterday, right? So that's what brings me to balance, is because of those lives that I'm changing and helping to nurture along the way, brings me back to saying, stay focused on the work that you're doing now and the place where your feet are right now, right? And everything will take care of itself. So that's always that reminder of that balance right there, of the kids, my families, and really why I'm coaching and why I'm doing what I'm doing is for the moments that I can impact and the people that I can impact right now. So that's what keeps me grounded at times. And it's tough sometimes as a football coach. You want to win right now, you want success right now, and you want everything right now. But again, bringing it back to why you're doing it, and it's for those to enrich those that are around me. And that's what really keeps my feet on the ground and keeps me balanced and centered.
And what I really heard from you there is that a big driver of your why is really to, and I often say this, like serve the hearts of others, right? Whether it's your family, whether it's the athletes that you're working with, right? Whether it's the former athletes that reach out to you, it's really about really giving them your full, energy and enthusiasm and passion right here, right now. It sounds like that's a big driver for you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that servant leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm there for them. I'm there for those that are around me that touch me, because you never know, right? What impact, what words or anything like that you can have to an individual, right? Like for me, after playing, I became a kindergarten teacher, right? And I guess my cohort that I really had, the first one, just went to grade 9 now, right? And one of my former students at another school was actually in my daughter's class last year, going in grade 8, and she's in grade 7. She's in grade 8 now. And I was his very first teacher. So what is that impact I could have on those young people, kindergarten, right? What's your impact? Because how they see school and how they perceive school is going to hold them for the rest of their life. So even now, when we encounter our athletes now or in anybody, what impact are we going to have on them? What impact are we going to have on those individuals? So it's really that servant leadership. And so that's really where I just come from. And that's coming from my parents and my family. That's all I know, right? My mom and my dad, that's what they did. And that's what they instilled in all of us. So just try to continue that.
No, again, a great reminder on what life's really about. So I'm curious, Coach, what really caught my attention about the work you're doing, not only as a football coach, was really seeing how, again, you're being that servant-based leader. You're really being a voice of change. You're being that driver of change with the BIPOC community and female empowerment. So I'm really curious, like, what was your why to get involved in those spaces?
The why was, why not? Right? That's really it. Is you see something that needs to change, and maybe something I didn't have. I have a young daughter, but I didn't have growing up, and that I saw that maybe I won't say it wasn't right or wrong. It just wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And why not make a change? Why not go into that space and try and create change for the better? Again, it's that servant leadership. If you see a void, then how can, as coaches, right? It's always, how can we fix that void? I may not be able to fix anything, but at least hopefully I can put my voice to it, or at least help on the way to some change, right? For the better. So that's really where it's come from for me, is the why not. If you see something that you can help with, why not? Right? So even with our apprenticeship program for women, why not? Right? I was, as it was happening, and I was on Zoom calls in the summer and sharing a little bit of that story, is I saw a lot of different NCAA schools having women in their football programs, and seeing women talk as recruiters, some as coaches, 8 athletic directors. I was fortunate enough, Coach Lowe spoke at one of the, and she's the D-line coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And she was on one of those calls. And to hear her speak and talk about the sport that I love, which is football. And one of her big things was, it's not a male dominant sport. It's a male prevalent sport, and we can change that prevalency. So, and then after watching Tampa Bay go on and win the Super Bowl, and seeing how Coach Arians' staff was so diverse, and then I was like, well, why not? Why can't we do that up here? Why aren't we doing it up here? Right? So that's really where that came from. So it was, again, it's always that for me, the why not? And why isn't it being done? Why not make change? Why not help? And why not put something in place?
A couple of things really jump out to me as you share. You mentioned a number of times, why not me?
Yeah.
Right? Like, sorry, why not? And why I love that is it's just that power of questions, right? And I think the power of questions really reminds you that change has to start from within first, right? Like, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to sort of walk the walk first, right? You can't just talk the talk. You got to be able to walk the walk. So I'm curious, what have you noticed? So as this apprenticeship, again, I know it's just started in the last couple of months, but I have been looking, I know UEFA had your 2 coaches, right? The 2 McMaster coaches sharing a bit of their journey, the bit of their day over the last week. What have you noticed as you've been able to provide some opportunities for some female coaches?
They can coach.
Yeah.
So, and one of the other things, they're coaches, right? Bring different ideas, bring different ways of doing things and seeing things, and they can coach. They're coaches, right? No different than any of our other coaches. The expectations are the exact same.
Yeah.
And they've made me better coaches because of the questions sometimes we take for granted are now being asked because it's a new space, right? How we're dealing with our players sometimes, we only know one way because it's the way that I was brought up, right? And we have different personalities on our coaching staff, but now there's a different voice and a different way to see things and a different way to deal with the players, right? And the more diverse it is, the better the communication is for our players. And one player may not hear how Coach Grant explains something, but one of our other coaches on our staff might explain the exact same thing a little different way that connects with that player. So it's an opportunity for our players to connect in a different way with a different set of coaches. That is holding them to that exact same standard that we all do, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing going through this process was there are a lot of good women coaches that can coach football, are passionate football, and they just need the opportunity to get on a staff to coach, right? It is a fraternity. Football's a fraternity, and it's about who you know and doing that. And that's how I got to the CFL and at MAC and stuff like that. But now opening those doors, women can coach, right? Because no different than anything else, we're teachers, right? And some of the best teachers I've had have been women teachers. And in football, the best thing that I may not be like with all of us at U Sport and any football, right? It's about getting your players motivated to run through that wall for you and do those things. And then it's about teaching the information so that they can understand it, right? And like I said, some of the best teachers I've had have been women teachers. I'm going back to elementary school, and I'm an elementary school teacher as my profession also. And these women can coach, and there's a lot of really good coaches out there that just need the opportunity to show that they can be great coaches, and especially in the field of football. And there are some women we interviewed. I think we wanted to take everybody on that we interviewed.
Yeah.
Obviously we couldn't, but just knowing that there's some great women coaches out there. And I know some of them that we did interview have gone on to coach at other places around the Golden Horseshoe right now.
You know, Coach, as you were sharing, what I really heard from you was, that importance of being open to diversity, because when we give opportunities to people who may have not always had a place at the table, right, the proverbial table, that it just opens our minds to different possibilities. And I was on a call yesterday with the Coaching Association of Ontario.
Yeah.
And it was talking about why we wanted to be part of this BIPOC mentorship program. And I said, my biggest driver is visibility, because we have to give people visibility. We have to give people hope of what's possible for them. And when you give more diverse voices, whether it's females, whether it's people in the BIPOC community, I even think back to that beautiful article, one of your players, Alex Chang, that when we give that, it just gives people hope for as cliche as it, better tomorrow of what's possible for them. So I love that, Coach.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to see what you can be, right? And going back, even from last year, it started with a group of U Sport coaches, like we started talking about the Black Football Coaches of Canada and coming together, because at U Sport in the OUA, which is the biggest conference, we don't have one black head coach, right? And I want to see what I can be, right? And when we were talking about after George Floyd and having these conversations and difficult conversations, we were in a space where I was looking around, who's having these conversations with the players in the locker room? Well, now they're looking at their assistant coaches to do those and have those conversations and have those difficult conversations. But what about the head coaches who are the leaders of the teams? Are you comfortable enough having those conversations? Well, we got to have more diverse voices. Even for myself, I think I'm one, and the numbers might have changed this year coming up. But when we were looking at it, there were only 2 Black offensive coordinators in all of Canada, right? There's only 3 Black head coaches in all of U Sport football. And I think at the time there was only 5 Black head coaches in all of Canadian football. So that's the CFL and U Sports, and only 2 of them, I believe, are Canadian. Right? So more diversity, having our athletes being able to see what they can be and aspire to be, right? That, oh no, I can become a head coach. I can continue down this road. I can become an offensive coordinator. I can become a defensive coordinator. So yeah, more diverse voices in the room can have those discussions and continue on making our great sport that much better, right? And being a leader in the sports world, right? So I think, as you were saying, just that diversity just spreads so much wider than just, I want to see what I can be. And then knowing I can go and do that and I can be that, and then going after it.
It's interesting as you share, and we talk about life coming full circle. I realized that, hey, football's good. Like, and we know, right? Like how beautiful this game is, but it can be better. Right. And I love I was just kind of giggled there because I said, there's that your driver for striving, for aspiring for more, to make the game even better, to grow it and expose this beautiful game to more people. That's what I really heard from you, is what this is about.
100%. That's what it's about. And it's just, as we say, as football coaches, every year we're trying to get better on the field. Every year we're trying to come up with new plays and how we're going to scheme. Shoot, it's not even every year, it's every week. Like, we lost last week and we're in the lab trying to figure out, okay, how can we get better? Where were we deficient? How are we going to get better? And every team does it every week. And we worry about that on the field, but let's take it further about that diversity off the field. How can we make our great sport better across administration, across coaching, players, bringing more people in and celebrating our differences and having that celebration? And this sport is so great, and it's taught, and as we started off, taught me so many lessons along the way. I want to make sure those lessons are passed off to more people and more communities, because it is such a great game and it's so powerful for change and for always. And I talk to our players, you're going to be the leaders of change for tomorrow. You're going to be the leaders of change for tomorrow. So what lessons am I passing on to you as a coach and preparing you for that change for tomorrow, right? Because not everybody's going to be a professional player. And even when you become professional, you still have those voices. But let's make sure that we are expanding that to different areas and to different people and bringing them into our great sport. So yeah, more diverse it is, the better it's going to be for all.
Okay. So I'm curious, Coach, again, as you're sharing that, right? Like, just again, be that messenger of hope, of like a better tomorrow. Like that seems to be a theme that's coming back. I'm curious, from your perspective and your experiences, where do we need to focus our energy in order to be able to give greater representation, to provide more diverse opportunities? Like, what is the next step for us to really drive this change?
I think we have to start to coming together as a community, like as a football community, and start having these conversations, right? And a lot of times we do things in isolation because that's what we do in football, right? I'm better than you, so I'm going to keep this here and I'm going to do this here. And then I'm going to come out and beat my chest and say, I did it first. I think we need to start coming together as a community, as a football community, and start having these conversations and seeing what we can do together to then build a better, as we say, better tomorrow, but a better tomorrow for football. I know with currently right now, we were able to, over the past few months, come together with a bunch of us coaches, assistant coaches and head coaches coming together in youth sport in the OUA, and we were coming up with a sort of like an United Against Racism campaign, right? And we wanted to have these discussions, and all the 11 teams are together on this, right? And we came together because we didn't want to come back to football. And yes, there's COVID, but there's also other topics that we wanted to make sure we're speaking on. So we were able to come together to get all 11 teams to come together. And we had this great big, what we wanted to call the playbook of, and coaches were meeting, and we're meeting at 11 o'clock or 8:30 on Wednesdays. And then we brought players together from each team to talk about putting this campaign together to come back this September. Things fell off a little bit just because with COVID, teams couldn't meet and having the conversations, but we had put this thing together. We're going to talk about stereotypes and have these conversations, justice bias, microaggressions, and just talk about it in the BIPOC community and what allyship looked like, and having these conversations on all 11 teams throughout the season. It got not derailed because we're still doing it, and the players did some great work. So we're going to start putting that out with the OUA. But we had flags. So if people are watching games this weekend and throughout the OUA season, each team's coming out with flags, right? And they have their team flags, but they have also flags that say, "We are one, united against racism." So all 11 teams are united. And that's how we start, with those small conversations and coming together. And just those flags are representing, we are going to battle and fight for 3 hours. But after that, we are coming together, united against racism. So that's one of the things we've started as OUA football coaches, assistant coaches coming together, and players coming together, that, hey, football season's important and coming back. But again, going back to you, we have to start with those small conversations of how we can do it little by little, and having to keep the bigger conversations going. Not it gets turned off because of, it's game season, we're too busy. No. We have to continue to have these conversations so that we can keep our fans aware, keep our communities aware, and that, hey, we're going to use our platform for that change, and keep going from there. That's how we're going to keep building for a better tomorrow. That, hey, just because we're playing for 3 hours, hey, we still have bigger things going on.
I love that, Coach. Again, I feel I could dissect that for an hour, and just all the nuggets that you had there. But what I really loved about what you shared, what really resonated with me is just how you're using football as the platform, right, to have this opportunity to create a greater sense of community, right, to really bring people together to have those conversations, because when people become more aware, that is where change can really start to happen.
100%. And it's always right. Where do you start? And you said it right. You start right here, right? You truly got to want to have that passion for that change, whatever it is that you want. If you have that passion for that change, and that's your passion, what you want to go for, then go for it, right? And then we can't do that. And I don't like to use the word can't. We need others to help us along that journey, right? And I by no means am any expert, but it was like, I want to do this. Who am I going to call? Called up a bunch of coaches. Coaches said, yep, we're in. And we started to build this together. Yeah. And as we start to do that, then we reached out to somebody else and reached out to our players. And we were having some powerful conversations that keeps leading to having more conversations and bringing others in, right? So if it starts within, and then you go and ask others, and they're willing to join, and that's how we build that community for that change. And we can continue that conversation, continue I love this sport. I love it. And you're going to get me all fired up going right now. And it's a bye week, so I got to temper it down. But keeping those conversations going, because this sport is a leader. Is a leader in change, and it always has been, and it can continue to be in this space too. And in our BIPOC community can be that great change and that great equalizer. So we have so many positions and so many different opportunities for anybody to be a part of it, from player-wise, administration, coaching. Let's open the doors, let others in. Let's really continue with that diverse conversation, and let's continue to build and make that change, not only in our sport, but in our greater communities.
Oh, Coach, you fired me up. You got fired up. I said to get fired up, so I'm ready to go.
Let's go. I know that's my big thing is, hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The sun is out. Football season. It's life season. Let's go. Let's make some change. Let's do some
Yeah.
stuff. Let's make a difference. I will say, the sports was taken away from all of us, right? Let's get better in all aspects of our lives. We've had a year or however long it's felt like 10 years, but make sure we're getting better in all aspects of our life so that we can have change. And I always say this, and I say it to my players and anybody that I talk to. I have a son and a daughter that's going to be going to university soon. I say this to my athletes. Whatever you're doing right now and the change that you're doing right now and the work that you're putting in right now, whatever foundation you're building, continue to build on that, continue to speak, so that when my kids come to university in a few years and get to that age, they're just building on what you've already set as a foundation. And you keep doing that, and you keep doing that work, and you be that change so that they can see that change, and then they can just build on that. And they're not starting from ground zero. They're just building on what you've already started to accomplish.
Love that. So, Coach, I want to be respectful of your time and energy. One thing that I often share is that challenges, obstacles, setbacks, they are part of the game of life. It's not that we want to expect them, but we just understand they will pop up from time to time. I'm curious, what is a piece of advice, a suggestion you would offer someone that maybe wants to start creating some change in their life, but just doesn't have an idea of like where to start? What is that one piece of advice just to help them get started, create some positive momentum, and get back on their journey to greatness?
We don't always have to be the expert in what we do, and always be willing to reach out to others, right? So as you're going, right, and if you do have questions, one, make sure you look inside yourself, right? And make sure, okay, this is what you want, right? And you know where it is where you want to go, right? And then once you do that, then go and seek assistance. And that assistance could be just asking a friend, right? That's go finding an expert. There are other people out there. I always say this, I am not the expert, and I always surround myself or ask those around me for their expertise or their advice. Mom's is always a good one. Dad's always a good one. You got wife is always a good one, right? Family and friends is always a good one to go with. So always look within yourself first, know what you want, say, I want to go get this. I want to be this change. And as you go and do that, bring others along with you and ask them for their assistance and their guidance, because you never know who else will come along. And it's no different than with us starting to do something for football and the OUA and coming out with flags and having these conversations. I had this idea. I reached out to other coaches. They reached out to the players, and that's how that change starts. And that's how you can continue on your journey. Because one thing I know, I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
There's no way you can do it by yourself, because there's going to be times when you become tired, or you reach that point where you think I can't go any further, and you're going to need someone else along with you that's going to help you along the way, that can give you sometimes coach you up and give you that kick in the butt to say, hey, keep going. I got your back. Let's go. And we can do this together.
I love that, Coach. And what I really heard from you is trust that when you take that one focused action, that all the people, all the resources that you need are going to show up exactly when you need them. Right. And that's what I really got from you. Again, great reminder, just trust.
Yeah, 100%. And not everything's going to be on your time, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be on your time, right? The time for whatever it is and whatever you're seeking will come. Just continue. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, continue along your journey. There's going to be obstacles, work through those, open the door. If you got to go over them, then climb over it. If you got to dig under it, dig under it. If you got to knock it down, continue along. There's going to be barriers, work through them, believe in what you're doing, believe in who you are. You got to believe in yourself, continue along, and where you need to be will happen when it's supposed to happen. Enjoy the ride along the way, right? Enjoy the ride along the way, because if you don't, what happens is you're going to miss those key nuggets of learning that you need to be successful down the road. And you never know when you're going to need those things.
I love it. I love it, Coach. So I'm curious, how can we help and support what you're growing? Is there, social media? Like, how can we support?
Pass it is you got to get on Twitter. So I was like, I don't do social media. So I ended up on that and I like it. I was like, how do you live without this stuff? But I guess it's just keep speaking, right? Keep speaking out for change. Keep supporting initiatives that you believe in. I know for football, there's so many different things. I know with Football Canada, working on with the Black Canadian Coaches Association of Football Canada, putting a BIPOC mentorship program out, our apprenticeship program at McMaster, helping develop your own in your own community, right? And speaking towards that. And if there's other coaches on here, there are women out there that can coach. There are women out there that want to get the opportunity. Go out there and look and seek, and let's expand our fraternities and go from there. And just, hey, anybody can be the difference. I am as I said before, as my kids would say, you're just dad, like, and that's it, right? And I just wanted to go out there, make change, and go do that. Anybody can do it. Just go out and do it. So social media wise, just, hey, there's tons of things out there. Follow you, do what we do, and just go and make change for yourself.
I love it. So, Coach, before we end, I just want to take a moment just to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for the man you are, the great dad, the great husband, the great man, the great coach, right? The great mentor, but most importantly, the amazing human being that you are. The one thing which I have truly felt inspired by is just watching you and observing how you're choosing to be a driver of change in this world. You're not just talking about, like, you are living it. You are it. You're being it. So I just really want to thank you for providing me that reminder that change always starts with us, and it's through action, focus, and consistent action. So thank you for that, Coach.
Thank you. And I just thank you for your time and wanting to speak to me. Like I said, not even wanting to, but just having this conversation. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing and reaching out. Like I said, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. So, folks, to end off, here is my challenge to you. Coach drops so many valuable nuggets of wisdom into how you can create change, not only in your personal life, but how you can change in your health, your relationships, your community, your school, but most importantly, in the game of life. But as I often remind you, knowledge is potential power. It's the consistent and focused application of that knowledge that actually creates change. So go apply one of these valuable nuggets of wisdom and go be a change maker today. As always, I love having these conversations, and I look forward to chat with you next time in the huddle. Have a great day, everyone.